Hey guys, welcome to my channel. I'm going to be doing a review, tutorial, and swatches of the Tartelette Flirt palette and the Tartelette Tease palette. So let's get right into it. Okay, here is a little bit of information on these palettes. These cost $30 each. They both have a 12-month shelf life. Each pan has 0.85 grams, which totals 5.1 grams overall. They come with a mirror with the name of the palette in the bottom right corner. Comparing these palettes to a different Tarte palette, this palette costs $60 and you get 12 shades. So it's the equivalent of buying both of these. 12 shades, $30 each. I think that's a fair comparison. This pan has almost twice as much as one of these. This has 1.5 grams per shade and this has 0.85 grams per shade. So buying two of the mini palettes is equivalent in the price of buying a big palette. And with a big palette, you get more product. It's more bang for your buck, pretty much. So this palette is called Flirt. It has two metallic shades for mattes. And then this palette, Tease. These ones are called lusters, so it has two lusters and four mattes. The Flirt palette is a warm tone palette, while the Tease palette is a cool toned. So let's get into some swatches. Starting with the Flirt palette, I'm going to go left to right, bottom to top. I'm going to be going on the back of my hand. This is nothing, it's just glue. I put glue on my hand and dip my lashes into it. It's not, I can't get it off. So I'm going to be going down here. Anyways, that's not important. So the first shade is called Gaze. This is a sand color. Next is Touch. This is a metallic red. Next is called Hotline, and it's an auburn shade. Next is called Playful. It just says it's a brown. Next is called Passion. This is a copper. It doesn't look very coppery to me. She said metallic pink maybe. Rose gold. Not copper. And then lastly, this shade is called Snuggle. And it is a dark brown. So that was the Flirt palette. This is the Tease palette. First shade is called Whisper. And it says it's a light pink. It's called Crush. And it says it's a taupe shimmer. The shade is called Heartbreaker, which is again, it's just described as a brown. Then we have Wink. It's a light mauve. This shade is called First Kiss. It is a shimmery mauve. And then the shade BFF is a plum shade. Let's get into the tutorial. So I've already went ahead and done all of my makeup except for my eyes and my lips, but I'm not going to worry about my lips right now. So to start off, I'm going to be priming my eyes with my Urban Decay Primer Potion. And then just blending that out with my fingers. What I'm thinking is I'm going to do one eye with the Tease palette and the other eye with the Flirt palette. So I'm going to use the Tease palette first. I'm going to set my primer using this shade here called Whisper. With a crease brush, I'm going to be going into this shade here called Heartbreaker and defining my crease. Next, with the shade BFF, I'm going to apply that to the lid, stopping about halfway. And then taking the shade here in the middle called Crush, I'm going to apply that to the inside of my eyelid. Well, didn't get the effect I wanted. I'm going to take some setting spray, wet my brush, and try again. I'm going to go back into the shade BFF and run that across my lower lash line. Get a clean brush, I'm just going to smoke that out. Then I'm going to take the shade Crush again, and then kind of replicate the top and the bottom. For the other eye, I'm going to be using the Flirt palette, and I'm going to set my primer using this shade here called Gaze. For the crease, I'm going to be going into this shade here called Hotline. And I'm going to diffuse that with a clean brush. For the outer V, I'm going to be going into this shade here on the bottom called Snuggle. I'm going to take the shade Hotline and I'm going to run that across my lower lash line. Then I'm going to take the shade Passion. I'm going to do the inside half of my lid as well as my lower lash line. Okay, that's not working either. I'm going to spray my brush. Thing I noticed, ton of fallout. Let's see if I can brush it away. Okay, that's better. I'm going to apply some eyelashes and I will be right back. And here are my final thoughts on this palette. One of the upsides of having a mini palette versus a big palette is the ease of travel. You can just toss one of these in your purse or in your carry-on and then you're good to go. Two mini palettes takes up about the same amount of space as one big palette. So now if you wanted to, you could have one cool tone and one warm tone palette in your bag instead of just one warm tone or one cool tone. These little palettes are great for people who are just starting out with makeup as the colors are very cohesive and it's kind of hard to go wrong with these. You have a shade to set your primer, you have some transition shades, some crease shades, and then a lid shade. It's not that hard. So these would be great for people who are just starting out with makeup. Great gift for someone like your mom, your niece, your sister who's like getting into makeup. I do like these little palettes. One big palette is a lot better of a deal than two little palettes. Yes, with two mini palettes you get two different shade ranges. You get the two-tone effect with the cool and the warm tone colors. Overall, do I like this palette? Yeah, I can totally see myself reaching for it again. But would I pay $30 for it again? No. So I'm not going to return it, but I won't be repurchasing it. I feel like it would be better to just save up my money and buy the bigger palette and get a lot more product. These shadows performed really well on my eyes. I didn't have any streakiness or skipping. My one complaint was the amount of fallout I had. I hate sparkly fallout because that's the one that kind of sticks to your skin and can't get it off. The one thing about the mini palettes is like they're simplified, I guess. Is like they're set up so that you can almost not fail with them. Like I said about transition shades and the lid shade, it's kind of all planned out for you, which can be good, but it also kind of limits your creativity as there's only so many things you can do. But I feel like that would be the same in any mini palette, not just this one. So with that being said, that's not always a negative thing, is that if you're in a hurry, this would be a great grab and go palette. You have your eyeshadow look pretty much already set out for you. So overall, I do like this palette, but I don't recommend it. I would recommend to anyone who's looking at these to just save your money and buy the bigger one. Big palette is the equivalent of two small palettes, so you might as well just buy the big one for the same price as two small ones and you'd get so much more product.